live and direct from Dubai in the
and LA.
and
remotely,
of course.
Remotely.
Oh, damn. Yes.
Through Microsoft Teams.
The Lume plotters. Yeah, through the modern mysteries and magic of technology, we can record simultaneously in 2 locations.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
welcome to the 19th century. It's been a while. It feels like it's been a while, but I guess the only reason it feels like it's been a while because we spent the last 2 episodes talking about watches and wonders.
Yeah.
And now that has fizzled out and we're kind of done with it, we get to jump back into proper topics. But before we do that, let's do a wristwatch check.
You first, Mr.
You want me to go first?
Mr. Check
so
it.
I have had this, back and forth, and I know how much you hate my Forstner bands on the Speedy and on the other one.
I don't hate
and I have
them. For me, it's just like looking.
You don't like it. It's historically accurate, but nonetheless. Yeah. I sometimes go back and forth as well, and I am now in the mood of no Forstner straps on the Speedy and on the... Sorry, I went kind of the opposite direction. So I have now put... my Speedy on a black NATO from Ute Watch Co., which is the Hodinkee used to sell them before Hodinkee went under. This is the one that is currently owned by the Grey NATO.
Okay.
So they are the only licensed sellers of this, but they no longer make colors. I emailed them and I said, why don't you make colors?
What do you mean you make no colors?
I got a response. So they only have gray. Gray and only in 20 millimeter. So I emailed them, and then Jason Heaton wrote back and said, we are essentially, they said, not in the business of straps. We will sell only the gray ones. We don't want to deal with inventory. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, see, this is funny enough. This is always a challenge when companies that are successful or brands that are successful and they branch out into retailing
other things.
And then I realize at some stage when it gets too busy and too complicated, and it's like, hey, wait a second, we are actually a software company and not a hotel company, or we are actually a entertainment company and not a retailer. So maybe we should just slim that down a bit. Right?
Yeah. Now another funny thing is, by the way, it seems to me that they have these straps already packaged and ready to go.
Right.
If you go to their website and their shop, there's 2 things you can buy. One is their annual membership for $100, which gets you a strap and some stickers. Or for $25, you could buy a strap. Okay? Now, I bought 2 straps. What did I receive in the mail? I got a
1 strap
envelope with 1 strap, a bunch of stickers, and it said, welcome to the membership.
Oh.
And I realized very quickly, there is no membership versus strap. You get the same thing either way, but they have them packaged and ready to go. They slap on the label into the post, right?
And then I reached out and I said, listen, bro.
No, I don't think it's the wrong pile, because I said, I ordered 2 straps, check the receipt. And they sent out a second exact same thing saying, welcome to the membership.
So it's just the same box again.
It's the exact same box. Okay. It's not a box. It's a little envelope with a little written thing about their podcast. And, we value your membership, and 2 stickers and a strap. So essentially it's the exact same thing. So you can hack the $100 and just order the $25 strap from their website and get the same
But
thing.
then you're not a member. You don't get the members only access, right?
Of what?
I don't know.
I don't either. They didn't specify.
Some of these paid for podcasts. What was their name?
This is not a paid for podcast, right?
No, but they have like a member section that you get podcasts earlier, or you get special content. Remember the ones about effing time? They had a podcast that you needed to pay for. So I never listened to that podcast because, well, it was paid for, and I thought only paid for podcast without even checking what it is sounded a bit weird to me.
You know who just did this, and it really pisses me off, was Stephen Pulverant.
Right.
He and I forgot who the other guy is, just started their podcast, and I was very excited about it because he did the best of the Hodinkee podcasts back in the day.
Yes.
His quality of making the podcast was second to none. And then I was so eager. I looked on the podcast. He said, the first one has dropped. I look on Apple, nothing. And I'm like, and I commented, like, where the hell is it? And then he said, go to the website. And I'm already like, oh, Jesus Christ. So I went to the website, and sure enough, it says, for only something like $10 a month. And I'm like, bro, like my Netflix subscription is less than $10 a month. Like, what on earth are you doing for one podcast?
How many podcasts does he do in a month?
2.
Oh, no, that's $5 per episode is a bit much, no?
That's what I'm saying. It's absolute insanity. It's absolute insanity.
So in the end, it's just words, you know?
Imagine if we charged that amount of money per person, per episode.
Be pretty rich.
People would be lining up to demand refunds.
If all our listeners would pay $10, we could probably retire.
Be millionaires.
Yeah.
Depends on what currency.
Maybe not in
Filipino
not in the
pesos.
UAE, but we could retire somewhere
Filipino
else.
pesos for sure, millionaires. There was a funny meme that I sent it to you. I did send it to you, I think. The guy's like, oh, welcome to Dubai. Like, how much money do you make? And the guy's like, it's in millions. And she's like, wow, how much? And it's like 0.1 millions.
Yeah, that's very cool. I like that a lot. Okay, so what are you wearing?
All right, what are you wearing?
What are you wearing? You did.
I already said we went on this rant about the Speedmaster
bracelets. Okay, the Speedmaster.
Yes, so now it's on the Black NATO strap. The Speedmaster lives on Black NATO. That is all.
Okay, I am wearing something very special. I got something new. And this is here. Let me change to this camera so you can see this.
Yes. You
saw this
before?
Yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. This is a Kampfschwimmer re-edition of the IWC and Porsche design collaboration for the German Navy SEALs, basically, right? So a special unit, and they had a diving unit, and they made this watch. And of course, it doesn't exist anymore. It was done by IWC and designed by Porsche Design. Very, very cool design, very functional.
Very cool.
And this watch I found.
The Navy SEALs really needed to know what the date was, though. That was the problem.
Yeah. They are underwater for days.
I don't know why, but yes, okay. But the funny thing is, you showed me this watch and you told me about its specs, and then tell the listeners all this.
So it's a Celita, so ETA 2824 clone movement, a PT 5000. It's a Chinese version, but so far this watch is 2 seconds fast per day, which is just insane. I mean, very, very accurate. And it is a titanium grade 2, the entire watch. It comes with 2 straps, a Velcro strap and one of these tropical rubber straps. So I had it in hand with a German friend of mine, Mark. So he showed it to me and asked me and someone, another friend, and asked us what we think how much it would be. And we said, so 800 euro-ish, we thought. So like, what is that? 3,000 dirhams, right? Something like that.
I guess 600 to 1,000.
Yeah, and you said exactly, basically in that range. And then he just laughed, right? And then eventually, one of us Googled it and saw that it's actually just, the price is about
$189.
And currently it's on anniversary sale, so it's like $165. And I thought,
which is nuts for a titanium
grade
automatic.
Yeah. And and they have also homages on other watches. For example, they have a lot of Blancpain 50 Fathoms homages in 40 millimeters. This is the watches that everybody wants, in bronze, in steel, and other things. It's a bit of an homage brand, but with their own branding. So they're not copying. There's not a pirated, fake counterfeit.
Just like Pagani design.
Correct, to a certain extent, but not as blatant, I think. So they put very prominent their own logo. But you see, if you look closely, it says here something really weird on the dial.
What is it called again, this brand?
Thorn. Just like the
Thorn.
Thorn. Yeah.
Which I didn't like. One thing about Thorn is on their website, if you look at their Tudor Ranger, Ralph is so old, he has to get out his loop to see what it says on the dial.
Because it's so small. It's a classic creation.
Classic creation. But on the Ranger, on the Tudor Ranger knockoff, it says Thorn Ranger. And that's a little bit pushing it for me. And then in addition, their genius marketing team from China probably said dive watch underneath it. So the Tudor Ranger, which is notorious a field watch and a mountaineering watch, is according to them a dive watch.
You have to make compromises there, right? So it's that's that. But I have another watch that I'm basically I ordered 6 weeks ago, I think. And then it got sent out and it took weeks to arrive because DHL had so much. I mean, it was sent with DHL and the German Post Service from Germany, a watch from Germany. And they eventually said, oh, sorry, we have so much to do with the whole tariff shit, right? So they have redirected their fleet and their planes and all of this stuff. So they couldn't serve other regions because everything went to the US at the moment to beat the tariff activation deadline, right? Anyhow, so I got it finally, and this is here what I'm showing to Martin now. This is the DUG, Deutsche Uhrenmanufaktur Glashütte. It's a lovely case, 40 millimeter case, a tad under 11 millimeters tall, and has a brushed side, very classic look, domed bezel. Then it has a dégradé fumé dial. I don't know if you can see this here. It's depending on the light.
A little bit, yeah.
Very dark blue in the middle and then goes to black on the side.
Honestly, it really reminds me of a Glashütte original. Somehow I just see that
it has
essence in it. I know it's a different company. I know everything, but it is very, very somehow similar.
It comes on this buffalo strap. It has a very nice big movement on the side and the back. It's a DUG 400, which is based on the Sellita SW 400, which is a large SW 200. I don't know if you can see it. No, it's just the minute hand is at 6 o'clock. There is a date, but the date window is also in each of the three colors is in dial color. So, which is pretty cool. So it really does disappear basically if you don't want to see it, right? It feels like
it's a good looking watch. I told you my only issue with this watch.
Yeah.
Only one issue. is the name.
Deutsche
I get it, the Deutsche Uhrenmanufaktur Glashütte, fine. But you put on the dial Doug. Which is like, the name of like your little slow nephew over there Doug. In the corner, like, hey, my name's Doug.
Duggie Hauser. But this comes also on this bracelet here. I wanted to show you that. And there's also this beautiful logo and the whole text that is Deutsche Uhrenmanufaktur Glashütte. It has brushed outer links. It's an H-link bracelet, right? So it has the center links that are faceted and polished. Both the strap, which is, by the way, buffalo leather, and this bracelet have quick release pins. And this has even a double trigger release. And it has even a micro adjust in the clasp with a small pusher that says drücken, which is German for push.
Push. I know this one.
From doors, right? You know that drücken.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason I know it from doors.
Yeah, instead of push. And then, you can actually do this. I think the micro adjust mechanism feels a tiny bit on the flimsy side, even though it is very solid. But other than that, the bracelet is great, very comfortable. And the whole watch is fantastic. And the price starts at 1,100 euros, including tax, which is mad. For what you get, it's
just
really
not
mad.
To the US.
No, at the moment, I guess no. And so you have three different dial colors. You have onyx black, you have a white and off-white, which is pretty cool, and the blue. You have the date version and non-date version. You have a stick dial and the numerals. And then, of course, the bracelet version and the leather strap version. So 24 different varieties, which is pretty cool. So you really find on these two watches, it's type 1 and type 2. So the one type 1 has
just like diabetes.
Yes, exactly.
Doug
just
has
without
diabetes.
the side effects. So it's a really, really nice watch, and it just does everything right. And the obelisk hands, the lume, everything is just really, really nice. And I'm just very perplexed by this because I feel like, wow, how can they actually do such nice things when you see other brands charging like 5 to 10 times as much and having a less high quality product. And this is actually, it has, I don't know if you saw that, but it has Glashütte on the dial. It says Glashütte /SA. SA stands for Saxony. So that means it's Glashütte in Sachsen, because we might have a different Glashütte city somewhere else in Germany. And it's made in Germany, even though it has a Swiss movement. So Glashütte has relatively strict things about what needs to happen in order to put Glashütte on the dial. But they somehow managed to fulfill all the rules, even though they use a Swiss movement. They decorate it in Glashütte, they finish it in Glashütte, they make, I think, a couple of parts there, like the rotor and other things, so that actually they can call it made in Germany and Glashütte on the dial. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, the only downside is 40 hours power reserve, but on the other side, that movement looks nice because it looks really nice, full of perlage, and that is handmade, hand perlaged. It's not machine made, so it's really, really cool. So anyhow, that was the watch that I needed to get out of my system. I will give a full review after I wore it a bit more than 2 days. But so far, I'm smitten, as they say, smitten by it. It's really cool.
Well, all right. Yeah. Good to know. Now, this we were talking about your first one that you showed us, the Thorn, and that does remind me of these copycats. And since we're already talking about copycats, I think it's only fair to talk about the issue with copycats and what are they called?
Studio Underdog.
Studio Underdog, yes. Yeah. So they apparently have been having an onslaught of similar Chinese branded copycats, making different colors of the work, the original design of the Studio Underdog watches, especially the one with the seagull movement, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Which technically, it's Chinese made. So
can you allow me to share my screen? Pretty please.
Absolutely not. Unacceptable.
Yeah, because they have really, I think they even put this on their website and other things when they said like, oh, look at all of these cool Studio Underdog watches. And they, on the first glance, obviously all look like Studio Underdog designs. But the point is, they are all not
real Studio Underdogs.
So if you see this image, then here, there's Proxima, there is Studio whatever, and Rachinsko and Daniel Gorman and other brands that have blatantly copied the designs and their color schemes and all of the stuff. None of these is actually a real Studio Underdog. Some are called, I don't even know what they're called, Studio something, right? They have other names here. I don't know even what that says here. Studio something.
But it's a 1-to-1. I mean, it's an absolute copy.
Yeah. So here, see Proxima 22 Swan, a Chinese version of it. And yeah, there is a bit different. But now what they have...
No, I think the Proxima looks a bit different. The color combo is the same, but it's
because it has two colored.
They all have two,
subdials.
But this has two subdials of same color.
But this is the cool thing. This is now a new Studio Underdog version. So they basically had these copycats have started to make watches in different color schemes that actually Studio Underdog didn't do. Right? So they actually innovated. And yet now Studio Underdog says like, well, you guys are ripping us off. So, well, we are ripping you off. We are homaging the homages.
It's genius because it's funny, A, yes. And B, it gives them, like they've already tested it out. They've seen the color combos. Yeah. So why not do it as well, right? Exactly. So they came up with this avocado and this guacamole. And this,
exactly, yeah.
Whatever it is, colorways, and it's pretty fun.
It's super cool. And I like the colors.
Is it avocado or is it guacamole? I don't know.
One is avocado and one is guacamole.
Oh, yeah, there is two.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the guacamole, the green, shades of green, right? Version. And then there is the other one, which is this is the avocado with the avocado stone here. It's a subdial, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really pretty cool. I love the idea, right? I mean, I think it's really cool to do that. They have it really. I mean, Richard Benck, I think it's his name, right? The founder.
No idea.
Who is an absolutely lovely, nice guy. Every time you see him anywhere on everybody who interviewed him said like, what a lovely person. So he's the overall Mr. Nice Guy of the watch world, and he did a really cool thing. Very funny as well. So saying, okay, we are ripping off the Ripper. of
Jack the Ripper.
ripping off the copycats. Really cool. Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would say the watches I could care less about, but the story behind it is what makes it interesting. Another one of these that, I don't really care about that just came out today as well, or yesterday, was that new Christian Ward, the Loco,
right,
which in Spanish means crazy.
And so, I think they are a bit crazy.
I don't know. Essentially, it's just a regular, nothing special watch, but then it has this floating balance wheel in the middle of the dial, right? C12 Loco.
A Loco. And is on sale today at 3 p.m. Oof.
But here's the funny thing.
Yeah.
And this is what people were talking about. Of course, this is $5,000 almost. So it is not by any means a cheap watch.
No.
Compared to the Bel Canto, which was the same price, is this worth it? I don't know. Because obviously a floating balance wheel is nothing that
somebody
special.
described that it's like an MBNF with Gerard Perregaux mix.
Bridge.
Yeah, with the three
I could see
bridges
this.
Things, right?
Yeah, but I think
really,
once again,
really
okay,
nice.
it's fancy, it looks nice, but to me the Bel Canto was already a better complication, right? Now,
sure,
here's the funny thing about this.
Yeah.
Okay, the price, as I said, was pushing $5,000, which is not cheap. Secondly, think back 10 years ago what Christopher Ward was doing. They were making absolute shitters. Like, I mean, the most disgusting, worst of the worst watches that you could imagine. Like the most, I would say worst. Let me rephrase this. The plainest, right? There was not a single thing that set their watches apart from any other like low-level brand, right? And then they come out with this kind of stuff. It's absolute nuts.
I would just disagree slightly. What set them apart was the price and the quality you got for the price.
Yes. Okay.
Because
yes.
They
true.
were really well put together, the watches, right?
Yeah, I have no issues with that. Yeah. It was just, they were very plain looking, right? That was the issue.
And also the logo.
They were not
before they changed the logo to this double cross logo,
yes,
it was, this Christopher Ward looked like a terrible mall watch, right?
It was, exactly. So the logo, the name was huge on the dials, and then it was just
it looked like Daniel Wellington. It did. Wasn't good. But this one,
but now it's great.
So
and you know who could learn from this, by the way? Who needs to learn? Frederic Constant. A made-up human being with no actual, not even a real name, and they're sticking to it so hard. Frederic Constant, and to me, it just, their styling is very constant. It doesn't change.
The newer releases are good. I think they have a couple of newer, nicer designs, but I think they have even Niels Eggerding, the CEO, has said this recently. Said like, I think even when we interviewed him, he said, yeah, I know we are a bit on the old-fashioned side.
I was absent that day.
Niels Eggerding? No,
I wasn't there.
You wasn't when you went out there. Okay, yeah. So he said, he basically, I interviewed him with Rajiv. Yeah. And he said, we understand it is a bit, we have to do a bit on the design side. So I think it got a bit stale.
No, not the design side, because they came out with a new perpetual calendar, which I love. I think it's a super cool looking watch, but I'm not going to wear something that says Frederic Constant so proudly on the dial when that is not even a real person. It reminds me of freaking, what's that ice cream called?
Ben and Jerry?
With a made-up name. What's the ice cream company?
Not Ben and Jerry, no?
No, the other one. Ben and Jerry are real people. The one with the umlaut. What the hell was the name of the ice cream company? Häagen-Dazs. Not a real name either. Häagen-Dazs was just basically just like Frederic Constant, was chosen out of a random list of names within a focus group.
So like Rolex.
Rolex came to him from a ghost while he was sitting on the top of a
double-decker bus.
Of a bus.
In London, yes. That's how Hans Wildorf got the inspiration from a ghost who told him that
so
Rolex
I believe
is good.
that.
Yeah. Okay, yes, of course. But it's also a made-up name, right? So
yes, it is.
Technically it's the same.
But it sounds cool. Both of these are made up names that sound crappy.
Yeah,
so,
it has.
I don't know. Is Christopher Ward a real person?
Yes, it is indeed. Unfortunately, Christopher Ward doesn't work with Christopher Ward anymore. I know it sounds a bit weird, but it is a real person. He was one of the founders. But he doesn't work with Christopher Ward anymore. But yeah. Anyhow, so they have made this watch. It's an integrated bracelet watch. It has the small sub-dial. No, I mean the main dial on 12 o'clock, right? It's pretty like 3/4 or something. It
reminds me of those Jerome, not Jerome, what was it? Jerome, J.D. something.
Oh, Jacques Drouot.
Jacques Drouot, that's the one. They always had this kind of offset small hours.
And then the second hand and the Grand Seconde, they were called. They had a big second hand subdial and the smaller one with the hours and the
hour,
yeah. But this has on the bottom the balance wheel, right? Very prominently. And why am I talking about it? Because they are using a balance spring from Precision Engineering AG. And what is that company? Martin?
Is it the same one we talked about the other day?
No, this is Moser. Moser. Okay. So they are in bed with Moser for the hairspring. Okay, Moser creates hairsprings for a lot of other brands, right? They create, I think, 50,000 hairsprings a year.
So for $5,000, you can buy yourself a real Moser.
Well, okay, a real Moser part. What I really like about this watch, it's hand wound, 2 barrels, 144 hours of power reserve. So
6 days. That's insane. I know that I have to give them props for.
And they have a watch that is very, very accurate, right? I think they're saying 0 to +7 seconds, right?
But no, hold on, pause. I heard it was 2 + 2 - 2.
Possible, but the problem is there is no second hand on the watch. And so they're saying, we could not cost certify the watch because you would need a second hand for that. I'm not so sure about this, to be honest, because do they actually need a second hand? Yeah, I think they do, because they actually have test dials and test hands, I think, on the watches. They're not just listening to the ticking. Okay, anyhow, so yeah, it's not cost certified because it doesn't have a second hand, but it would probably beat.
If anyone knows whether this is true or not, let us know on our Instagram. Send us a message or comment on this, because I honestly have no idea. Do you need a second hand? I don't know. It
says that even so, and just like the SH21 before it, our new CW003 movement operates close to chronometer margins anyway, making this amongst the most accurate of all Swiss mechanical movement. Anyhow, and what I really like about it, that's the same picture, is this glass, the sapphire glass. I think we've seen so many now, Tag Heuer, this one, and so many more brands now having this glass box sapphire.
Yeah.
Which is really, really lovely when you feel it. It's so soft and so nice to have it on the top of your watch. I really like it. It's really nice. And of course, it gives these lovely distortions of the side of the watch, right?
I'm trying to think if I have anything with a similar, or have had anything with a similar glass box.
I don't think so.
I can't remember.
Anyhow, so I see the refractions here on the side. I really like that. I think that's pretty cool. So this is really, really a lovely watch with an open work. I mean, open. It's not just open work. It's just the balance wheel is pushed onto the dial.
Yeah.
And it's
beautiful colors too, by the way.
Yeah. So
really
they have
cool
this
colors.
Version in black with the orange rubber strap. They have the steel bracelet, of course. Downside, 3 atmospheres, so 30-meter water resistance. That's on the lower side, but well.
I don't think anybody's swimming with this.
No, but it does look super cool.
It does look kind of sporty.
I mean, this is really, and they have a 5-year warranty on the movement. I do know from a lot of people that they had a bit of a quality control issue recently, right? They had a lot of movements that the rotor started to spin when you turned the wheel, and there is a couple of issues with quality control, and they had some issues with the customer service, who was terribly overloaded, right? So typical victim of your own success. You grow so fast, not everything scales at the same pace like your watch sales. So then you struggle a bit with providing all of the other after-sales services and stuff. But I guess they will get this under control. And this is one of the best examples of just a wonderful, really, really cool new watch. And again, for $5,000, you get a lot of watch for your money. So...
yeah, I would still spend my $5,000 elsewhere.
Yeah, depends. I mean, I think for us conservative watch collectors, it's still something that the name is becoming every year more respected.
It is absolutely. That I have no issues with that. But for $5,000, I can buy a Grand Seiko brand new.
Yes.
Right? I could buy any Tudor brand new. I could buy an Omega. I could buy quite a few different things. And
with Omega, it's getting tight.
It is. Your choices are getting less, but secondhand market, you have infinite choice, right?
Secondhand,
for like as in brand new, but you're buying them gray market or secondhand all day long for $5,000. You can get yourself a Seamaster 300. And
easy.
I think I would choose that over this any day of the week, right? This is not okay. Maybe it's not my style. That's also true, but the Christopher Ward name. It's the same reason that I wouldn't buy a Frederic Constant. It just the cachet is not there. That doesn't mean they're not cool. I like it, but if Tudor came out with this exact same watch, I would probably be all over it, right?
Yeah.
If Tudor came out with the Frederic Constant perpetual calendar they just came out with for the price that they just came out, I would be all over that too.
Yeah, it's a lovely watch as well.
It is something to do with the name.
So for me, Frederic Constant has already surpassed that. I wouldn't mind a Frederic Constant watch, so I'm already there. For Christopher Ward, I still think Belcanto has shown that it's something to be proud of.
Yep,
a lot of people have that. A lot of very, very senior collectors have a Belcanto in their collection because it's a lovely watch. So yeah, I think they are getting there. So another 1 or 2 years, I guess they have convinced even the most hardcore reluctant people like us.
I guess.
I have a quick question. I have a question for you. Let me see if I can just click this. I have sold this watch. I had a Panerai Lumino Marina titanium.
Did you? When?
Acazio. Well,
like a long time ago?
Yes, I think my last pictures of the watch are from, October 21. Then I sold this to a dear friend of mine. See, here was a picture of my old watch collection. That was very, very different. Yes. That's my old watch collection. Bremont, Rolex, IWC, Vacheron Constantin.
Lots of,
Lots of shitters as well.
Yeah, so I was going to say, but I didn't want to say it.
And a Longines, a Tudor here, then a two-tone Omega, a Breguet, Grand Seiko. So I had, it was...
And then just look at how the box itself is kind of shitty, right? And then how
this
is always a way of telling if somebody's collection is shitty or not, is how these watches are thrown in there and they're all lopsided and kind of like off kilter, right?
Yeah, they don't fit very well. But I mean,
exactly.
Look,
so you could always tell
Rolex.
The collection, the quality of a collection, or how much somebody prides themselves in their collection based on the box's presentation.
The problem in this watch box was that it was 24
times 324
24 watches in it, so it's a big box, and so there's Breguet in it, Omega, Vacheron Constantin, Blancpain, a few Tudors, Zenith. I mean, it was actually quite nice. I'm actually quite surprised of how nice it actually is. But anyhow, so
but just the presentation is
yes,
it looks like you have a nice meal. But I mean, all of these watches, if you would have presented it a little bit nicer.
Yeah, I know. This has changed. I have a better watch box nowadays.
I know.
So this is the same watch with a different strap here. So it's a brown actually dial. It has this independent hour hand. It's just a P9000 movement, 3-day power reserve. It's a titanium case. I had different straps and all of this stuff. So here's a rubber B strap for it in green. Also looks really cool. I had this watch. I like this watch. I told my friend, if you ever want to sell it, tell me. So he just told me.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm saying, if you ever want to sell it, I'm buying it back. Now I'm a bit like,
How much?
Well, it's a more than $1,000 less than he paid me.
How much?
1,500. Sorry, 15,000. Well, it's a titanium
Yeah, but the one that our good friend Mahmoud sold, remember? He sold that watch to one of his friends, and then the guy was trying to sell it on again for a profit.
Yeah.
And that one was the 8-day, the big boy, right? The 8-day power reserve movement. And I think he was asking less than 15 for it.
Yeah. See, the thing is, if you look on Chrono 24, and that's why I'm asking you. I know,
Chrono 24 sucks. They're telling me that my Black Bay 54 is worth like 20,000 dirhams.
No. Here, you see the spread. That's my thing. You see,
the only spread I like is Nutella.
16,000 is the cheapest in Japan, right? It goes up to the most expensive one, 28,000. And the watch was, I think, retail 40K or something. So it is a nice watch, and it comes with, I think, 8 or 9 straps, because I bought a lot of straps for it, right? And I sort of miss it. So I'm still thinking about it. I'm not sure.
I think there's better Panerais out there.
Yes, for money. Example, the one that I always wanted, and I'm talking about
Luna Rosso,
the Blue Notte.
Oh, Blue Notte, sorry, yes.
But the Luna Rossa, see, that's also one thing. I found a strap for this watch, the Luna Rossa strap, in gray with the red. That looks cool. I don't know if it fits on this watch though, but that looks nice. And you can buy it. I mean, it's not official, but it's...
It's not official. Who cares? Who cares if it's official?
Yeah, anyhow, so that was my question. What do I do?
I think there's better... If you want a Panerai, I understand, but there's better Panerais out there for the price.
But also it's. I feel obliged as well, because I mentioned this, and
you can tell him no.
I can. I know he wouldn't be. I think
if you need money, Ralph,
he tried.
I'm happy to give you our agreed upon price for your Pelagos 39.
I might actually do that.
I'm happy. I will do it right now. I'll wire the money. if you so choose, I am shitting you not.
Okay.
Right. We get off this call. I will wire you the money.
Well, you get 3 straps with it, right? No,
I don't
4.
need the straps.
No, you get the Jubilee bracelet in titanium.
Yeah, you can sell those separately.
You get the
Zeelander
rubber strap.
I want nothing.
Which is super cool.
Nothing.
Zeelander strap is super cool.
I don't want the Zeelander strap either.
But it's good.
I only want the watch and the rubber strap it comes with. That's all I need.
Okay, yeah, mate. Do that. Let's talk about this after the call. Okay,
sure. So we can negotiate live in real life here.
I don't know how interesting that would be for
once again, but I've wanted this. I have regretted selling mine in the sense that I think it would add value to my collection, because I sold the sub.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I would love to have another modern, just dive watch I can beat the hell out of. That's what I truly want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, because that's the one thing that kept me from selling the Pelagos, because of the dive watch thing. But thinking, see, this is also a Panerai with 300 meters. I wouldn't call this a
dive watch.
No, it is not. But it's 300 meters water resistance. So
the thing is, it is a dive watch, but not in the traditional sense. Yeah. I have another friend, JC, and he had the same issue. He didn't buy a sub because he said he had a Luminor.
Right.
And of course, he's like, I already have a dive watch. Why would I want another dive watch? And I was telling him, like, this is not the same. Like, you need to rotate clicky bezel. No, right? You have to have a clicky bezel.
Yeah, I would also never call this a dive watch.
But it is, right? By its history, by its definition, it is a dive watch. But in the same way, I would also argue that, for instance, the Longines Legend Diver and the JLC Polaris, all of these are dive watches, but that's a third category of dive watches, right?
Yeah.
So you have your traditional Blancpain Rolex category, you have the Panerai category, and then you have the internal rotating bezel category. And all of them are dive watches.
You're right.
They're just different.
You're right. So I think I made up my mind. I think we are going to close the deal.
All right.
Because I also have probably a Submariner coming in, an older one, the 16610. The last one with a aluminium bezel.
I do believe that this does not live in the same collection as a sub. The Tudor, because it was stepping on each other's toes.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
constantly.
That's when this comes in, which is a very high likelihood that will come into my collection. I don't need the Tudor.
I agree.
So I think, Tudor has to go then, and then I will probably go and swap that.
Just don't go looking at
stand to my word.
Just don't go looking at chrono prices because I'm not offering you that. I can tell you right now.
Okay, let me check the chrono prices of.
I'm looking right now. Pelagos. What is the number for this, by the way? God bless you guys. Love our banter here. So the cheapest one is 12.
See, but of course mine is better.
I'm not going to give you 12. I'm telling you that right now.
I'm not charging you 12. That's okay. I understand that. I think it's.
We discuss offline.
Yeah. Oh,
this is the one I was
we are talking offline. Yeah. But I must say, you get extra straps. Also, the clasp is big, right? So it has a few scratches.
I had the same watch.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I don't mind scratches. Scratch the hell out of it if you want.
No.
Condition is not my thing. Hang tags are my thing.
Oh, I think I do have them. Okay. I think I have everything. I got it directly from the AD.
I know. I saw you showed me the unboxing. I was very excited.
Yeah.
Okay. When you got it, because I had mine at the same time you had yours.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Deal done.
Well, we haven't discussed pricing, but deal done.
After.
Tentative to pricing.
Okay.
So.
What else? We had something else for an interesting price we wanted to talk about. We have talked about, after I derailed this with this question.
We have another thing that we want to talk about. Before we get to the thing about the interesting price, I want to talk about, we're talking weird watches, weird designs, right? And all of a sudden, in Watches and Wonder this year, I don't know if you've realized, but it was like a slew of these jump hour watches, which is absolute weird.
Everybody.
What the hell? Did they all get like some unified memo? And everyone's like, yeah, we got to make one of these. And this means this memo came like a year ago, right? Because they had to start development.
Yeah.
So Mann and Nico Leonard made one. Then we got one from Bremont. We got one from JLC. We got one from Cartier.
Bremont. I'm sorry, but
God knows who else. The Bremont one's disgustingly hideous.
No, but what I'm saying is Bremont is so not a jump hour
dress watch
idea. And they have. Where is it?
We have to say,
see it.
It's the Bremont, the jump hour function is a dress function, right? Maybe it's just like if you go back, I think there was another one as well. If you go back, there was another design which was even uglier.
Yeah, and
this one right here, the left.
Is it in bronze? Yeah, jump hour bronze.
God, that's so ugly.
Yeah.
God bless. It is. Jump hours have to be small cases because, of course, the whole thing is a slab of metal.
There's no dial.
And this is like a freaking 40-some-odd millimeter brass, bronze, whatever.
Yeah. Cupro aluminum bronze.
And then the Bremont logo in the middle and just giant.
The compass rose, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've seen recently one of the Terra Novas again and in person, and I must say I sort of still like it as a field watch, but I think they need to find their identity a bit more. I think that's the first.
By the way, I went to Siddiqui the other day. We have one in Elaine now, and so I looked at the new Bremonts, and they just like, look at all the Bremonts. They were all super ugly.
I think I had a Martin Baker 3, right? So which I was actually not going to sell, but then eventually I thought, come on, right? I used to wear it for travel, right? But I thought, nah. At some stage when I had something really nice coming in, like I don't know, the Daytona or the Vacheron Constantin, I decided, it needs to go now, and I'm not missing it. Right, it's a bit sad, but I do feel that the new,
as Metallica said, sad but true.
Sad but true, yeah. But anyhow, so talking about jump hour movements, there is so many of these, right? Man with Nico Leonard.
Okay, Man with Nico Leonard. Another quickly? Absolutely. I don't even know what to think. Personally, of course, I hate Nico Leonard. So anything that he does and anything he says, I would want to immediately distance myself from, right?
Okay.
But the watch doesn't look bad.
It's not
and
bad.
That upsets me, right?
But
This is, once again, we're back to this cognitive dissonance.
For me, yeah.
It's not a bad looking watch. And for the price, for $1,000...
So a lot of people have slammed this because this movement inside, you can find it on AliExpress with watches.
He didn't mention strategically anywhere, Nico Leonard, in his freaking review of his own watch, anywhere the movement.
Yeah, so you can find Jumping Hour watch with the exact same movement. I don't know what they're called. They have a funny name. No, not Farasuit, Jumping Hour vintage watches. Yeah. So basically, they have all the same movement inside, right? It's all the same movement. It's a seagull movement inside, jump hour movement, which is of very high quality. So it really swaps.
Well, you've seen the seagull chronographs. I have zero issue with them. They're beautiful.
But you can see these watches cost about $100, like a tenth.
Yeah.
Of what Nico Leonard's watch costs.
But Man is known for making quality watches as well. They have good. I told you my only issue with Man is if my name was Man or Maine or however you want to say it, Maen, and you make a watch called the Manhattan, why wouldn't you have put the extra E in there? It should have been Manhattan, right? They should have put a play on their own name.
Yes.
How did they miss that? And that really bugs me.
Manhattan. Yes.
It would be awesome, right? That would be the 10 out of 10.
That would show that you're not taking yourself too seriously. Right?
Seriously, exactly. And with a micro brand, you cannot take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
And but anyway, the FKM rubber strap on it, 3 choices, 3 colors. I don't like the one with the white strap. That one's out. I think it was the red with the white strap or something. But then there was a green with a green strap and a black with a black strap, and both of those looked.
Yes, somebody recently told me that just when you have this new rubber strap, because it's a new rubber strap design, right, with the long stripes on it and all of the stuff. I think it's made for the watch. So this shows you that if you design this costs money, right? If it's designed for you, you need to create a mold for that to mass produce it. This takes a lot of time. But by the way, the main watch here, the one
good looking watch
with a glass box. See.
So this is the Man. I don't know what it's called. The one with the moon phase on it.
Yeah.
And it has that
I like
Jubilee style 5-link bracelet, but it's absolutely like super flat, which I think is super cool.
Yeah.
The green I like, the black I like, the red I don't like.
What I think now is that, see, there's 2 countries that actually make sapphire crystals in the watchmaking world. Basically, it's
Japan?
Hong Kong. No, it's actually Hong Kong and Switzerland, where you can buy as a watch brand sapphire crystals for your watch.
The reason I say this is clearly Japan makes it because Seiko makes everything.
Yes. I don't.
And by that logic, Germany would also make it because Glashütte makes everything.
I don't think they make their own sapphire crystals. But I could be proven wrong. But I think the crystals are always something that there's Switzerland and there's Hong Kong. And most of the brands, I think 80% buy in Hong Kong because of just price, right?
Yeah.
And they produce a very high quality sapphire crystal, so you don't need to. But I think some of the suppliers from Hong Kong probably Hong Kong or Switzerland have figured out a way to make these glass boxes cheap or more affordable. So suddenly they are everywhere.
This one does not have a glass box.
No, this one doesn't. But the new one
that we were like the moon phase, the main moon phase, he does.
But the main jump.
They could have called it the man phase. Like this is they could have started everything. Like okay. I have a whole rebrand of Man right now. Imagine this. Yeah. You don't put your logo on anything. No Man. Instead, you integrate Man into all of the names. So Manhattan would only say Manhattan. The moon phase would only say Man phase. And therefore, the logo or the name is already in there. And that would be genius. And I hate the Nico Leonard logo on this, by the way.
See, I think I don't understand really this logo.
Something Pride and Pinion is what it's called.
Yeah, because this is hands, company, right? I don't know why it's even.
I don't know.
Yeah, anyhow,
is it hands?
These are just little hands, right? Watch hands, I think. that are just piled up there. Anyhow, or are these pinions? I don't know what a pinion is. No, it's not a pinion. Anyhow, it doesn't matter.
Pinion is, what is a pinion? I think we're stupid.
I have an opinion.
It's not an opinion, which Nico Leonard has a lot of. He shows 5 there immediately.
Yeah. So it's...
A pinion is a type of gear. The pinion is the one inside of the planetary
so this is actually
circle.
Hands. Yeah, this is
so the
hands.
pinion is a small gear that is connected to a larger gear. So for instance, now it's called, coming back, steering, right? Steering is called rack and pinion.
Yes,
the rack is the tuk 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 tuk, and then the pinion is the small wheel that rolls back and forth.
Got it.
If you built Legos back in the day and you've done the Lego Technics, you've done these, you know exactly what a rack and pinion is. The pinion is the small gear.
Yeah, remember my I don't know if you had the same issue, but my Lego projects, when you have one or two of these boxes of Lego Technic, and then you think, there's always this is alternative stuff you can build out of the stuff you have, right? And you think, great. But then you have ideas and you think, let me do something bigger. And then, of course, you're missing these parts, and then it's so complicated. And then you have a half-finished thing lying around for years.
Yeah, of course, naturally. and this reminds me, I had a weird thought. I was driving home the other day in my car, and I don't know about your Touareg or the Porsche, but I'm guessing both of those you have a proper steering column, right?
Yes, hydraulic.
Mine is electronic, and there's no connection between the steering wheel and the front wheels. And that scares the bejesus out of me.
No, it's not the Focus. It's there. It's just electric. It's not hydraulic, but it's with an electric engine. The power steering is electric. So it's
not like because they call it steer-by-wire, right? Steer-by-wire.
The first car that came out with steer-by-wire only was the Q50 from Nissan.
When was this?
Just way after your Focus. And this was the first car that didn't have a physical connection between the wheels and the steering. But they had an emergency connection. So there was still a steering.
This is what I was asking,
and then it was just connecting when, for example, the battery fails or anything, because otherwise, if the battery fails,
you have no control.
You cannot do anything with the steering. But yours is actually, and I know this when I test drove the Focus ST, because I was very interested in it. It had this electric motors that also counteract the torque steer, right?
Yes.
Because it's front wheel drive. And that was feeling that you needed to really learn how the car reacts, because it was feeling a bit wobbly. Not wobbly, but just weird when you accelerated, how it actually pulled on your steering wheel. I think the first time you really accelerate hard on your Focus ST, the torque steer feels very different from other cars that you know.
I had, when I first got the car, because first out from the factory, it's like 270 horsepower right off the bat to the front wheels.
Yes.
And the motor mounts are too weak to handle this theoretically. So they have what's called a wheel hop. Essentially, the motor mount cannot hold the front wheels to the ground, and it would react. It would kind of pull back a little. So when you're accelerating, it pulls back, but that kind of also pulls back the front axle. So you're getting this hopping.
Correct.
So you would hear this absolutely all the time. You go for a launch and it's like pop, 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 pop.
Looking for grip, yeah.
Yeah, it's looking for grip. So when I changed the motor mount, I went for the upgraded, the racing motor mounts. And for those, it was night and day. That was the only thing I changed during that exact moment. And it eliminated entirely the wheel hop. Then you get some stickier rubber, and it's insane. So I know now when my tires are getting old, because the wheel hop will start coming back.
Right. Okay.
Very interesting. Anyway, point of story. There is on my focus group right now, the nicest, cleanest ST I've ever seen for sale. 2014. It has 90,000 kilometers only. No modifications. The guy rarely drove it, and it looks brand new. He has recently serviced it. He got a new clutch, a new flywheel, and a whole bunch of other things.
It's manual.
And he's asking $30,000. And I'm just like, mind blown.
Isn't that a bit much?
Looks, frankly, no, 30K would be okay if it had, let's say, 200,000 kilometers on it and was driven normally. But I think this one was too clean for how much he was asking.
I mean, so you just said it's a clean car, low mileage, just had a fresh service and a new clutch. Yeah. And we are talking about...
The clutch alone is a 20,000 dirham job.
And we're talking about watches that are costing more than this.
Oh, yeah.
It always puts a weird perspective into my mind, thinking like, wow, I'm just set that this fully functional, pristine car, even though it's 10 years old, might not be worth 30,000 dirhams. And then you buy watches that are...
So, absolutely. And the funny thing was, the other day, I have the bike rack on the roof, right? I have the roof rack with the 2 bike mount. And a friend of mine was riding with me, and he has literally a top-of-the-line Scott road bike. Retail price of that was 60K. And we put it up, and my bike retails at like 30K. Put that up. And I'm like, I have 100K on the roof rack right now. It's just nuts. Like, the car itself is worth maybe 35 on a good day. Since it, had the hail damage, it's probably less. And I'm over here with 100K, like 4 times the price of the car on the roof.
Prices are
weird.
It.
I love it. I love this whole idea of, once again, this goes back to not taking yourself too seriously, because I would say, 3... I don't know how many of my watches cost more than my car, but quite a few of them.
Yes,
if not almost all of them.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the problem also with the time value, right, of cars, because it's really, cars only depreciate usually. There's some rare models that actually appreciate in value, but generally cars always depreciate. It's just always
like
a depreciating asset. Yes. And if it's a Tesla, it's like a Tesla. It's not like a stone.
Tesla's the worst. But now, honestly, here's the thing: is how many times have I come to you, Ralph, and I said, "Okay, Ralph, I think it's time for me to buy a new car," and we're like, "Okay, what should we get?" And my only criteria is it has to be a manual, because I'm not willing to compromise on that. And you open the frickin' internet, and there is zero new cars to choose from. Zero. You can get a GR Yaris, which is 250K, which is absolute insanity.
Yes.
Or you can get a Civic Type R, which is also 250,000 dirhams. Both of these, absolutely no. That is, those are both going to be worth 100K in 4 years.
Your car, it was made in Germany, right? The ST.
Yeah. It was made in
Cologne.
Where in Cologne, yes.
Cologne, yeah. So I've actually, I've visited this car, this manufacturer there.
My neighbor worked in the plant in Cologne.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. He worked for both BMW and Ford.
Yeah, both in Cologne. That's true. Yeah.
No, BMW. He worked in Munich.
Sorry, BMW. Cologne, Ford. Yes, of course.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Ford is in Cologne.
München.
Bochum is Opel, or was Opel? Yeah.
Anyhow, Opel is. Yeah, they're still around. It's just not around here anymore.
Yeah, and they are now Stellantis, I think, right? They were
Opel
PSA.
Is still GM.
Sorry, no, not GM. GM sold them. They are now part of this PSA group. What is this? Peugeot and Citroën.
Citroën.
So they own now Opel, which is completely weird.
I had no idea because the new Opels look disgusting, and the new Peugeots look disgusting. Citroëns, I still can do with the Citroën, but the Peugeots and the new Peugeot logo, God bless. Disgusting.
Anyhow,
I don't know what they did.
So, talking about cars, who has a collaboration with Porsche recently? Tag Heuer.
Oh yeah, Tag Heuer does.
And I have been in the
and Formula One
this week. In my lunch break, I went over to the Mall of the Emirates and spoke to the regional director of marketing and PR, and everybody was there to show me and Fatma around the new novelties, and it was pretty amazing what I saw.
There's only one thing I care about. I want to try the new Formula One.
Yeah.
Yep.
But before I start talking about my experience with the Formula One, which of course I have taken plenty of pictures of, and I tried a lot, is the Porsche Chrono Sprint, the Tag Heuer Porsche Chrono Sprint watch, 40,000 dirhams retail price. that watch has a glass box.
Once again, pause.
It's so cool.
They have, for the last 15 years, been using glass boxes.
I know.
Generally on their more rarer
so
models.
Nice. They're so nice. And then that's why I'm saying that was so nice, because they feel, the new Tag Heuers, they are level up. I think they are really absolutely amazing watches. At the Chrono Sprint, the Porsche Chrono Sprint, the party trick is that the minute hand, the second hand of the chronograph goes super fast until 9 seconds, and it has a bigger scale. So it basically goes until 40. The 40 seconds
is just 9
in 20 seconds or so, right?
Exactly.
It goes super fast, and then it's just like a snail inside the chronograph. So it goes slower, but finishes after 60 seconds, a full round. So it's so super,
essentially you're
and then
timing,
goes fast again.
Exactly. Because
like
you're most likely, if you're timing in that area, you're timing less than 20 seconds. Generally.
So you have a higher scale, and then of course it was the Porsche 911, the first Carrera that actually won the Pan America, the Carrera Pan America. And there's a model of it in the box. You get a model of the car, right? It's part of the presentation box that you get, and that was the acceleration time. It was 8.6 seconds from 0 to 100, I think, at the time of this 911, which was pretty insane. I think, and that's, I think what one is. Was it 8.6 seconds? I don't know. It was 8.6 or 8.7 seconds, but I don't know if it was 0 to 100. I don't think it was 0 to 200 at the time, because that was way. These are the 911s
8.6
with one.
would have been 0 to 100.
Yeah, these are the 911s with one side mirror, right? Because you didn't have a second one, because at that time nobody had a second right-hand side mirror. Or if you had one, you actually needed to pay extra for it. I remember that was optional. It was an option. Anyhow, and nobody had a problem with the non, the balance of it, that it doesn't look symmetric. Nobody cared. It was just, no car has a side mirror on the right side. Only on the driver's side. Weird.
Now, all right, tell me about the Tag Heuer
Formula 1.
Formula 1.
Formula 1 is way better than I expected it to be. Especially, I only had, of course, in my hand the steel versions.
I only cared about the plastic, and you didn't have the plastic?
I didn't have the plastic, but the bezel is plastic as well. So you get a bit of a feeling it's a not unidirectional bezel, which I find always
friction.
Weird, right?
Yes.
I find it weird. It's okay. It's not a diving watch, so it's fine. It's just to measure things, so you can just put it in two directions. But for me, it's just weird to see this if it's not a GMT bezel. But that was that. The solar graph movement is great. Obviously, that's a La Joux-Perret movement, because they needed the Citizen Echo Drive movement, which is a sister company of La Joux-Perret, or let's say the other way around. La Joux-Perret is owned by the Citizen Group. So obviously, it's like one of the best solar driven quartz movements that you can get, because Citizen is basically, they are the king in these movements.
Yeah.
So that watch movement is inside there. They have under the dial a solar cell. The dial is translucent enough to let enough UV light through to actually power it. You have, I think, 10 or 11 months of autonomy. If it's fully charged and it doesn't get any light, 5 minutes of light powered for a day. So it's pretty easy to just keep it going forever. And you probably need a new battery after 15 years only. Rechargeable battery, right? So it's a really cool movement. Accuracy-wise, it's not a high accuracy quartz movement. It's plus minus 15 seconds a month in the worst times. So that's also something that probably won't happen, but maximum plus minus 15 seconds a month. So it's lovely, 38 millimeters. Wears cool, has a nice bracelet. The beat blasting of the surface makes it feel and look like titanium, but it's not. It's steel, right? Price here in Dubai is 7,400 dirhams, according to the website.
That's the issue.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like,
so especially
but the difference between this one and steel, with steel, I could just about say maybe.
And here's exactly what I was going to say. You're going to take it out of my mouth.
Then say
the difference between the steel and the plastic, right?
Yeah.
There's no way in hell you're talking about a 1,000 dirham price difference between a full steel on a bracelet versus a plastic watch on rubber.
It's not 1,000 dirhams. It's only 400 dirhams.
Yeah, I was being generous.
7,000 for the plastic version and 7,400 for the steel version.
It's not okay.
No, it's not
and
okay.
I think, once again, the plastic version is very similar to the moon swatch, right? So people are looking at it 1,000 dirhams versus 7,000 dirhams, and it just does not compute. And the thing is, if they would have divided this price in half, they would have sold more than double.
I still think this is a hit. It will be a hit.
It will be, but the problem is, once again, they would sell more.
It could have been a bigger hit.
If it was 3K, I guarantee you, I would have one. My wife would have one, but not for 7.
Because these plastic versions, I mean, I'm such a fan. I mean, I know that some people like the green and blue. They call it what do they call it?
Yeah, but then the Kith one was less, right? The Kith one was only 5,000 dirhams. So why is this one more expensive?
And this one is solar. Because I think they all have. See, this one, for example, says steel DLC. So it has a black steel case, I guess.
But once again, the Kith ones were all steel.
Yeah.
And they were all 5K.
Like the yellow one with the black and yellow, I think it's really cool. I like it.
I believe you, but the problem is the pricing.
The price.
And now, remember, the Kith one was 35 mm. So are they going to introduce another 35 mm line? Because obviously they got the tooling for it, right? They're not going to let that go to waste. So at some point, we're going to see a 35 millimeter line with a regular quartz movement.
Yeah.
And those, I'm guessing, are going to be back to that 5K price point that the Kith one was between 5 and 6K. That's my guess. You heard it here first. And that is all that we have to say about that.
Yeah, so I told this to the guys there, of course, from Tag Heuer. I said, look, the watch is cool. I think it will become an absolute hit because it is lovely, right? It has the old green and red logo and all of the stuff. It just is it's a lovely, faithful restoration of or re-edition of this watch. But this watch was a $300, $400, $500 watch back in the day. And you count that for today's money, and that's what still close under $1,000. Yeah, but you're close to that because it's in the 80s, right, when it came out. So unfortunately, it's actually close to this, but it's also better in every regard. But also watches in general have become easier to mass manufacture, I think. Anyhow, it is a lovely watch, and I really, really fell in love with it. So I really thought, man, damn, I really want it. I do think, like all of these watches, it will go down in price, right? Let's
see what happens with the secondhand market hits.
Let's see how it looks here when you look at these. I don't know if you can see it here when you can see the bead blasting or whatever is done to the steel. That it looks really like titanium, and it feels like titanium. It feels very, very warm and all of this stuff. So it's nice.
All right.
Yeah.
It looks very nice. We agree. It's overpriced. But we're out of time, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Because some of us still have to work,
spend
but
the
nonetheless,
lunch break
quickly, I'm going to just interject this real fast.
Okay.
Did you see that Rolex made a Submariner desk clock for $10,000 with a quartz movement?
What? No. When?
Yep. In the last couple of days, they just silently released it, just like they did cufflinks a couple months ago. Did you see the cufflinks?
No, I did not.
These things are ordered to be in stock at all times at every boutique, so people can go and buy them.
No way. So you can buy it without a waiting list, without a wish list.
The cufflinks, you want to pay $10,000 for a quartz desk clock? By all means.
No, but the point is that you can go and buy a watch at Rolex without waiting for anything.
Yes, it's technically not a watch, it's a clock, but also the cufflinks you can go and buy, which are also absurdly priced.
Man.
So I saw the first review of it today, and it was stupid.
Yeah.
By all intents and purposes. This is just a ploy to sell something at the boutiques to people that don't have the ability to buy anything. So on that bombshell, it is time to end. We thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.